Okay, what is up? My name is Warren Freeman. This is Warren's Vlog. This is episode 70. The music that you hear in the background, I do not own the rights to. So let's get that out the way. This is going to be a new format, partly because I fell asleep yesterday watching Raw. So that's the only reason why I'm doing it. But it's still a format that I'm going to try. Partly because I'm off work tomorrow. I have a vacation day, so I'm going to do Raw and SmackDown in the same video and just compare them both at the end of the video. Um, I really don't want to kill my finish, but SmackDown won for the week. It's not even close. Just with the alone with the announcement of Daniel Bryan finally being cleared to wrestle, nothing was going to top that. There's nothing that Monday Night Raw could have done. To their credit, it's not like the news broke prior to Raw being aired. It broke this afternoon that Daniel Bryan was going to be cleared to wrestle. But there's nothing after that. There's nothing that Raw could have done to beat SmackDown. SmackDown had its faults, but I'll get to that when I get to it. Before I get into Raw and SmackDown, I decided that I was gonna just with the final deletion stuff. I think I'm just gonna just do that on its own. Like, I know Final Deletion technically was a part of Monday Night Raw, but it's so vastly different from the WWE product. So much so that I'm not even gonna really include it in the Raw and SmackDown review. I am going to talk about it, but I'm just gonna talk about it on its own thing. I thought about giving it its own episode, but it's not a lot for me really to talk about. The Hardy Boys have been trying to get the license to use the Woken Broken gimmick in the WWE for quite some time now. The Hardys re-debuted at WrestleMania 33, and even in the Hardy Boy gimmick, Matt Hardy would still do the delete. You know, he even did that coming down the ramp at WrestleMania 33. So the smarts would, be happy, like me. I was happy when he did the delete, even though I didn't really watch TNA. And the thing is, I hadn't watched TNA at all, but I did watch Final Deletion. And the only reason why I watched it was because it was so much buzz around it that I had to watch it for myself. And when I watched it, I must say I was entertained. And the WWE did a better job. Well, I don't know if the WWE did a better job with Final Deletion. I think they just had a better budget. But anyway, so the Hardys re-debuted last year at WrestleMania 33. They won the tag titles their first night in a fatal four-way ladder match, beating Enzo and Cass, the Bar, and the Club. The Club were were the defending champions. So the Hardys won. They would enter into a feud with the Bar at the following pay-per-views. The Bar would get the tag titles back. Then the Hardys were kind of pushed to like the lower mid card, upper mid card level. I think they wrestled once for the Intercontinental title against Miz, or Jeff Hardy did rather. They were involved in a couple stuff, but then Matt Hardy randomly lost the match to Bray Wyatt. And after Bray Wyatt got the 1, 2, 3, Matt just sat in the corner and just started doing this. Delete, delete, delete. And then a few weeks later, the Woken character would come to light. And this would be the feud, Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. They would wrestle at Raw 25. Bray Wyatt would win. And then they would wrestle again at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, which Matt Hardy would get to win. So the blow-off match was the ultimate deletion. And this had a lot of the same elements that the TNA version had, just with a bigger budget. The thing that I liked about the WWE version of it is that they fought in multiple locations. As with the TNA one, they fought in the ring in that backyard. But in the WWE version, they fought all over, like the Hardy compound, into the Lake of Purification or whatever. Here's honestly what I'm gonna say about it, and I'm gonna move on. If you liked it, you liked it. If you didn't, you didn't. I was pretty much indifferent towards the whole thing. Um, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. Matt Hardy won. So Matt Hardy won the feud. Bray Wyatt lost another feud. No surprise there. And that's basically all I can really say about it. I can't really, like, you have to watch it. There's a lot of weird shit. They shoot fireworks at each other. There's a drone that flies around with a hologram of Matt Hardy. There's the lake of purification. They reference the Wyatt compound that Randy Orton burned down last year. They referenced that during the match. I don't know. It's just you really have to actually watch it for yourself to get an understanding about it, and that's all I'm gonna say about it. Okay, so we're gonna do Monday Night Raw now, with the exception of Final Deletion because I just covered it, and I'm gonna try not to be here a long time, but I know this video is at least going a half hour because I'm doing Raw and SmackDown. So we start off with a Kurt Angle promo. He comes out. He, basically says that. Roman Reigns is still suspended, and Brock Lesnar is scheduled to be here, but he's not here yet. But Roman Reigns shows up immediately. Let's just okay. So last week, Roman Reigns was suspended for, I guess, speaking his mind. But the real reason is because they want to get us smart to cheer for Roman Reigns. Okay, so Roman Reigns is suspended. So At least, okay, let's start off with some good. At least he didn't come down the entranceway to music. At least there's that. Like when the Big Show got fired a few years ago, and he got fired, and he came back down the ramp with music and pyro. And I was in the crowd, and I was confused. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Big Show got fired. So, okay, he didn't come down the ramp. He came through the crowd with no music. That was good, but he came through the crowd in his wrestling gear. That's number one. He grabbed a microphone, and then he gets into the ring. You want to make this shit real, right? What you should have did, and now I know why they didn't do it, because I'll get to that later. What you should have did, if you wanted to make this real, why didn't security hit the ring immediately upon seeing Roman Reigns? Okay? Like, this was like some Scott Hall shit. Showing up at WCW, interrupted the match. Like Scott Hall, you remember, he literally came down to the ring in the middle of the crowd, got in the ring, grabbed the microphone, and just cut the promo. That's exactly what Reigns did, except there wasn't a match going on. It was just Kurt Angle standing in the ring with a dumbass look on his face. So Reigns gets in the ring, and I even wrote 2 flags down here. I said, why doesn't security immediately rush the ring? Right. So Reigns gets in the ring and says, I know I'm Kurt Angle says, what are you doing here? You're suspended. Roman Reigns says, I don't care. I just wanted to be here to represent the main event of WrestleMania because somebody needed to be here. That's a valid point. But Kurt Angle says, but you're suspended. Reigns says, I don't care. I'm standing right here in this ring and I'm not leaving until Brock Lesnar comes out here and faces me face to face. So Kurt Angle says, the hell with this. He doesn't say that, but he throws his hands up. He walks backstage. Then, U.S. Marshals. I can't get through this without... I can't. U.S. Marshals come out to the ring to apprehend Roman Reigns. Number one, I don't know if this was WWE's way of trying to make this look legit, but realistically thinking, why would a U.S. Marshal, one of the highest law enforcement in our nation, care that fucking Roman Reigns shows up to his place of employment while he's suspended? There is so much shit going on in our country, and I'm not trying to make. I don't want to get into all that right now. But theoretically speaking, there's so much shit going on that the U.S. Marshals could be attending to. But no, they're at fucking Monday Night Raw trying to apprehend Roman Reigns. So that threw me for a loop. On top of that, they look like a discount Shield or a bootleg Shield, which I'm assuming that was intentional. Let's just say that was intentional. I'm probably giving him too much credit. So Reigns says, you go ahead and cuff me, or whatever, but just don't touch me. So they cuff him. They grab his arm. Reigns is like, bitch. They grab his arm again, and then Reigns starts throwing elbows. Like he thinks he's Ludacris in the Southern Hospitality video. He just starts throwing bows at these hoes. He takes out all 4 of these U.S. Marshals. Stop right there. So, is it not a bigger crime to assault a U.S. Marshal than it is to trespass? I would think assaulting a U.S. Marshal is like, that's some serious shit. That's not like assaulting a regular local cop. You assaulted a U.S. Marshal. And if you were going to beat up the U.S. Marshals, why the fuck would you allow them to handcuff you? And I know why it was planned that way, but still, just thinking realistically, why would you let them handcuff you if you were going to assault them anyway? So Roman Reigns, he throws the bows on the U.S. Marshals. And you can see this from a mile away. Reigns' handcuffs. Brock Lesnar's music hits. Brock hits the ring. Hits some German suplexes, grabs the steel chair, beats the shit out of Reigns with it. He had to hit him at least 20 times with that damn steel chair. Hit him with a couple German suplexes. Got back in the ring, hit him with an F5. And if you remember, this is really a callback to the Eddie Kurt Angle that they had heading into WrestleMania 20, where it was Eddie Guerrero versus Paul Heyman, with Eddie's hands handcuffed behind his back, and Eddie still beat the shit out of Paul Heyman, and then Kurt Angle came out and beat the shit out of Eddie. Basically the same thing, except this looked a little bit more vicious. Yeah, like they F5 Reigns, got him on a gurney. Brock came out and lightly pushed over the stretcher. And it was just so funny to me. Everything else Lesnar did looked stiff as fuck. The steel chair shots, the German suplex, the F5. But then he comes out when Reigns is on the stretcher and he lightly pushes it over. Like, Oh my God. So, and here's the thing. Now, granted, most of the fans were booing, but a good majority of the fans were chanting, "You deserve it," when Reigns was getting his ass kicked. And if I were there, I would have been in that group of people chanting, "You deserve it." I get what the WWE is trying to do. I get it. They are trying to make us, the fans, feel sympathy for Roman Reigns, and they're trying to get us to boo Brock Lesnar and cheer Roman Reigns. It's working halfway. Yes, from what I could tell, watching Raw and my own personal feelings, yes, we're booing Brock Lesnar. Okay? That part you got down pat. But we're not cheering Roman Reigns. We don't give a fuck. Or at least maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. And I ain't going to speak for nobody else. I'm going to speak for Warren E. Freeman Jr. I'm booing Brock Lesnar. I'm not booing Roman Reigns. But I don't give a fuck. And that is worse. That's worse. It's like I'm not feeling sympathy for Reigns. I just don't care. And the reason why I don't care is because I know that Roman Reigns is going to beat Brock Lesnar. It's a foregone conclusion that Reigns is going to beat Lesnar. The same thing with Triple H and Roman Reigns in WrestleMania 32. Triple H beat the holy shit out of Roman Reigns on Raw. I was at that show too. Bloodied him up. I mean, blood everywhere. It was a vicious beatdown, and nobody cared. They were cheering Triple H. Why? Because we knew that Roman Reigns was going to win at WrestleMania 32. That's exactly what he did. And they're recycling that. With the whole him getting suspended last week. And then the Brock Lesnar shit Monday. All that they're doing to make us feel sympathy for Reigns and to make us cheer Reigns. It's not working. We're booing Lesnar, but we're not cheering Reigns. We don't give a fuck. Okay. Oof. Oh, one more thing about that, and then I'm done. I really hate when the announcers say, like when something like that happens, when Brock Lesnar beat up Reigns. I hate when the announcers go, "This is the most blank thing I've ever seen happen on Raw." Like this is the most horrible thing, or the most violent thing, or the most brutal thing, or the most horrendous scene I've seen on Monday Night Raw. Um, it's just a shameless attempt to hype something up, to overhype something up, as if um, Kane didn't get crushed 2 months ago. That wasn't horrendous. Oh, and I will be bringing that back up later on in the video. Um, I know this isn't Monday Night Raw, but the Harper or Luke Harper and Eric Rowan beating the shit out of the Usos in the New Day, that wasn't horrendous. Even Braun Strowman with the like picture thing, even though it was clearly fake, and I hate to use that word to describe pro wrestling, but it was what it was. Even with the like picture thing, that was meant it was meant to be horrendous. And this Brock Lesnar beatdown, that's the worst thing y'all saw on Raw. Hell, the Triple H beatdown on Roman Reigns 2 years ago was more violent than that. Okay, now I'm done. All right, they replay the Nia Alexa angle where Alexa Bliss and Mickie James were talking shit about Nia Jax backstage, and like a little fancy video package. Alexa comes out and basically hits us with another swerve promo. That's what I like to call them, swerve promos. Very similar to her Elimination Chamber promo that she cut. But this was basically that, just referring to Nia Jax, basically saying, I'm sorry for all the stuff I said about Nia Jax, and I'm sorry that I didn't say it a hell of a lot sooner. And then she goes on to insult Nia Jax. Asuka comes out, and they really did the best they could to make us forget that Asuka beat the shit out of Alexa Bliss 2 months ago. Because tell me why Alexa Bliss had the advantage like this entire match. I mean, if anything, this hurt Asuka in my opinion, even though Asuka would win the match. And I mean, damn, she won the match by countout. So it wasn't even like it was a dominating victory. Asuka would get a couple hope spots in, but then she would get cut off by Alexa Bliss. And then Nia Jax came out and basically mauled Mickie James and chased Alexa Bliss out of the building. That takes us into our 9 o'clock hour. That was basically from 8 to 9. Now we're in our 9 o'clock hour from Monday Night Raw. Alexa confronts Kurt Angle, and Kurt Angle says, you know what? Basically what you said last week was deplorable. Millions of women around the world heard that promo, including my daughters. And you know what? You're supposed to be a representative, a good representative, as the Raw Women's Champion, not a bully. So Kurt Angle says, you know what? This is what I'm going to do about Nia Jax. I'm going to give Nia Jax a match at WrestleMania against you for that title. So that's another match that was announced for WrestleMania. We go out from there, Braun Strowman comes out to the ring. If you remember last week, Braun Strowman won a Battle Royal, a tag team Battle Royal by himself. Yeah, you heard me. By himself. He gets in the mic and says, you know, I don't need a partner. I'm going to go to WrestleMania and I'm going to beat the Bar by myself and they're going to get these hands. Then the Bar interrupts him and basically says, hey, to be a good tag team, you got to have all these attributes. You got to drive together. You got to eat together. You got to work out together. And Cesaro says you got to sleep together. And Sheamus is like, really, dude? Really, dude? And Cesaro's like, no. I meant you have to room together, like get the same hotel room. Sure you did. All right, so then Strowman faces Cesaro, and Strowman wins, because of course he does. They do the Final Deletion preview, but I'm just going to skip over that because I already talked about Final Deletion. The Revival versus Titus Worldwide. The Revival win, hitting the Shatter Machine on Apollo Crews. The only notable thing from this match is that the Revival announced that they're going to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. That was it. Other than that announcement, which is notable, I could have done without this match. I'm not saying it was bad, but I look at things like this. I look at this tag match, and I'm gonna jump over to SmackDown real quick because it's I have the same thoughts about it, and I'm gonna tell you why. On SmackDown, they had a tag match. It was Naomi and Becky Lynch versus Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan. And both tag matches, I'll dive more into that tag match when I get to it on SmackDown. But I looked at both tag matches and I thought to myself, okay, if I'd not seen that match, would I have missed anything? Would it have taken away from the show? And the answer is no. And I mean, I know that may sound a little harsh, but that's how I feel. I feel like with the Revival versus Titles Worldwide, if that match had not aired, I don't feel like it would have taken away from the show. So that's my thoughts on that. Mark Henry gets announced into the Hall of Fame. It's good for Mark. One thing I noticed is in his package video, his hype video or Hall of Fame video, they showed all his career highlights. How he was an Olympian, and then how he did the sexual chocolate thing, and then they went right into the Hall of Pain era in 2011, and then they showed him winning his first world title. But they didn't show him. They didn't show who he beat to win the World Heavyweight title. And as we know, it was Randy Orton. And I don't know if that was some sort of strange way to protect Randy Orton, maybe. But like, why not show him beat Randy Orton for the title? I don't get that. Unless that's what they wanted to do to protect him for whatever reason. Which actually, the more and more I think about it, that does make sense because Randy Orton is relevant as Mark Henry is not, other than him being inducted in the Hall of Fame. And when did he retire, though? That's what I want to know. Like, is he still working or what? Like, he never made an announcement about a retirement. And no, I'm not talking about the one in 2013 where he fooled Cena into thinking he was going to retire. Maybe he did it online. I don't know. But anyways, going to the Hall of Fame. Congratulations to you, Mark Henry. Yeah. All right. Sasha and Bayley versus Sonya Deville and the other blonde chick. Paige's Absolution. Mandy Rose. That's it. Sasha cuts a promo and tries to apologize to Bayley. Or basically says, well, first she says this, if two people got a problem, as an adult or as women, you confront that person. And Bayley, I'm sorry for what I did, but it was every woman for herself. And Bayley comes back and says, well, it's not so much what you did, it's how you did it. And referring to the Elimination Chamber where Bayley said, you pushed me off that pod and you had this smirk on your face when you did it. Like you enjoyed watching me fall. I hated this promo because there was absolutely no emotion between Bayley and Sasha at all. There was no voice level, no emphasis, no nothing in their voice. They sounded like robots, and it was nauseating. And again, I probably talked about this in my Elimination Chamber video, but I still think every time I see Sasha push Bayley off that pod, I just think of Mufasa and Scar and the Lion King. I don't know why. It kind of reminded me of that. Anyway, so they have a tag match. Clearly, there's dissension between the two. They get an argument in the middle of the match, and that leads to Bayley getting pinned by Sonya Deville. And that's how that match goes. I kind of want to see them have a one-on-one match at WrestleMania, but the card is already stacked. So my thing is they're probably going to be in the Battle Royal. I would like it to come down to those two as a way to blow off their feud. But then again, I kind of want this Battle Royal to be used to bring somebody up. Like Carrie's, I don't know, the Japanese chick in NXT. I like her. Or Peyton Royce, or Billie Kay, or Ember Moon if she loses the title. I kind of want this Battle Royal to bring up a younger woman. And you could still have the Sasha Bailey blow off, but have them be in the final 3. Like, have them throw themselves over the top rope, or have Ember Moon eliminate the both of them, and then you build somebody up. That way you can still kind of blow off that feud, but don't let the Battle Royal be the. Don't let Sasha or Bailey, one of them, win the Battle Royal. Give it to someone younger. They can blow off their feud over the top rope, and then at Backlash or whatever the next pay-per-view is, they can squash their feud then. Not that I care, because they've wasted a whole fucking year turning Sasha heel. So I really don't care. Cena promo. I don't think anything's going to top Cena's promos from last week. Cena came out and basically said, so what's Undertaker's response to facing me at WrestleMania? Absolutely nothing. He rips on The Undertaker, calls him a coward, says it again with emphasis. Then Kane comes out and says, don't be talking about my brother, bitch. No, he didn't say that. But Kane did come out, and Cena said, oh, okay, so we have Kane here. Maybe Kane's going to tell us. So is it a yes or a no? And Kane just kind of stands there with Cena has the microphone in his face. And then he just grabs Cena by the neck and chokeslams him. So, first off, what is wrong with what I just said? Kane, who 2 months ago was crushed by a fucking announce table. But we're supposed to just forget that, right? I'm supposed to just forget the fact that Kane was literally crushed, not by an announce table, but by the whole fucking platform. I'm just supposed to forget that? Is that, I mean, what the hell? What the hell? So, the match is made next week with Kane versus Cena in Cleveland, which I'm going to try to go to that show. And hopefully, if I do go to that show, that'll be the show where Taker finally shows up. Alright, so 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, we have the Mr. Raws versus the Battle Club. 6-man tag. And yeah, so Finn Balor pins the Miz. I mean, nothing really memorable. It was a basic 6-man tag. Seth Rollins was on commentary. And yeah, Finn Balor just pinned the Miz. Miz is eating a lot of pinfalls here. And I originally thought that Miz was going to lose the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania because Maurice's baby, or his baby too, is due on the 8th. And WrestleMania is April 6th, so that's like right around the due date, and you would think Miz would want to be there by his wife's side for that. So, but Miz is eating a lot of pinfalls though, in the build to this, so it makes me think that Miz could possibly win the Intercontinental title or retain the Intercontinental Championship. Very possible. So, after the triple threat match, they have the Ronda Rousey package where they show her basically having an interview with Kurt Angle sitting by her for whatever reason. Well, I guess they're tag partners, so that makes sense. And yeah, after that is Final Deletion, and I've already went over that, or Ultimate Deletion, and I've already went over that. So that was Monday Night Raw. Flipping over to SmackDown now, and SmackDown starts off with a beautiful video package. It highlights Daniel Bryan's retirement, which that was my first video that I ever did, was covering that. This is my 70th. How do you say that? 70th episode here, and I can't believe I've been doing this for 70 episodes. So my very first one was Daniel Bryan's retirement, covering it, my thoughts on it. And now here we are 70 episodes later, and Daniel Bryan's been cleared to wrestle again. So Daniel Bryan comes out, he cuts a very emotional promo. Thanks to fans, thanks his wife. That's where he tears up. I teared up a little bit because it's emotional. Thanks his wife. Yes. Then he says, when am I going to wrestle again? The fans point to the sign, the WrestleMania sign, because they love it when you point to the sign. So the fans point to the sign. They even get a WrestleMania chant going. And Daniel Bryan says, well, I don't know about that, but I will be back in the ring again. Yeah. All right. So after that, Little Nate, this is after commercial break. Little Nate comes back, and that's Charles Robinson. I just call him Little Nate because he looks like Ric Flair. Comes out and he congratulates Daniel Bryan backstage. Dolph Ziggler shows up and says, "Congratulations, I'm glad you're back. I can't wait to beat you." So that could be a potential opponent for Ziggler after WrestleMania, which would be awesome because I don't recall them ever having a bad match. Best match they ever had was Bragging Rights 2010. Look that shit up. Watch it. It was great. Rusev versus, after that, we go to Rusev versus Shinsuke Nakamura. We come back from commercial break. AJ Styles, the WWE champion, gets a jobber entrance. We don't even see the WWE champion make his entrance on television. That is sinful. Rusev and Aiden English, I can understand. They get the jobber entrance. I can understand that. It's still sinful because Rusev Day is fucking over. But still, AJ Styles is already sitting at the damn table. The WWE champion. Of course, Shinsuke gets his TV entrance because that's the entrance people want to see. But AJ Styles is your WWE champion. There's no reason why AJ Styles should have got a jobber entrance. His entrance should have been on fucking television. He's the champion. You could have had AJ come out, then went to commercial break, give the jobber entrance to Rusev, and then have Shinsuke come out back on TV. And that's more than a nitpick too, because he's your champion. And if I'm sitting here complaining about Rusev and shit, which I am, that's a nitpick, and I can own up to it. But AJ Styles, he's your champion. He needs to be on television, making his entrance on television. So yeah, this match happened at Fastlane 2 weeks ago, and I really hate when they do this shit. It's like, hey, if you didn't watch the pay-per-view, it's okay. We'll give it away for free on television 2 weeks later. And I really hate when they give a pay-per-view match away before the fucking pay-per-view. I think that's even worse. But both instances are bothersome to me. That being said, this match was right up there with their pay-per-view match. But the problem is, when you have a pay-per-view match, there's no commercial break. There's no interruption. When you're watching it on TV, that commercial break kind of fucks up your flow a little bit. Like, you're getting in the match and there's a commercial break. Also, I was going to talk about this later. I wrote it later on in my notes, but I'm thinking about it now, so I'm going to say it now. SmackDown has this thing where they do the picture-in-picture, where they show the commercial and then they show the match in the top left hand or right hand or wherever. They show the match in the top left hand corner of the screen. Be consistent with that. If you're going to do it, then do it for every fucking match. I don't remember what match it was that they didn't do it for. Oh, it was Charlotte and Natalya that they didn't do it for. Do it for every fucking match. Don't do it sometimes. That shit is annoying. Or just don't do it at all. Fuck it. Just don't do it at all. But either way, be consistent. Okay. I got that out the way, so I gotta mention it later. So Rusev loses. He rolls him up. Or they do like a weird... Shinsuke goes for like an arm bar. Rusev reverses it and then gets out of it and then does a roll up. And it was a lot of rolling up and technical wrestling. Let's just say that. And Shinsuke rolled up Rusev and got the win. Now, Aiden English and Rusev jumped Shinsuke Nakamura. And AJ Styles is sitting at the table kind of watching. He slowly gets up, takes his jacket off, puts his belt down. He's doing this very slowly. Now, as he's doing this, Shinsuke then fights him off. And AJ Styles is standing there and looking stupid like, oh. Now, I really like the storytelling. Because last week, if you recall, the same thing happened, except it was AJ Styles getting his ass beat, and Shinsuke ran in and helped him. But Shinsuke still took his time. He didn't run in immediately and help AJ. He still took his time. He ran in and helped him. And then backstage, AJ Styles says, I didn't need your help. And Shinsuke said, yes, you did. You really did. Need your face. Now, this week, it's Shinsuke that gets beat up, and AJ takes his time, getting in the ring, taking his coat off and all that. But then Shinsuke fights him off by himself. Then they get backstage, and then Shinsuke basically says, I didn't need your help. But at WrestleMania, need to face. And AJ just stands there looking stupid. Okay, moving on. There's an Asuka package. And then we cut to Charlotte, and Charlotte, whether she's selling or not, looks noticeably scared. Like, oh shit, like I might not be ready for Oscar. She didn't say that, but that was the look on her face, though. And Natalia catches her like, "Oh, you are so busted. You are so scared. Oscar's gonna beat you." And then Charlotte says, "Lay off the catnip." I don't know why I laughed as hard as I did. I don't know whether it was the way that Charlotte said it, "Lay off the catnip," or how she like maintained her posture when she said it. I don't know what it was that made me laugh so fucking hard. But when I tell you that I was crying after that, I was on the floor crying. To me, that is the best part of SmackDown. With the exception of, Daniel Bryan. Just knowing Daniel Bryan can wrestle again is awesome. But outside of that, that was the best part of SmackDown to me. Lay off the catnip. Like she was Bill Cosby. Lay off the catnip. Oh, like I don't. It was shit. That was funny. So in that little argument, it's announced that, well, it's not really announced, but Charlotte says, well, Natalia says, I should be facing you at WrestleMania. And da 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 da. Charlotte says, well, you can face me tonight, and that's where the match is basically announced without it being announced. And then we go to Baron Corbin versus Ty Dillinger. Ty Dillinger has a beard now. Basically, all I have to say about that. Oh, and well, Corbin won, and they botched the ending. They went for the end of days, and Corbin lost his grip. Or I don't know. That move is hard to pull off as is, and I guess I can't give Corbin too much shit because he pulls it off 99% of the time correctly. And tonight he kind of like missed it, or Ty Dillinger where he wasn't supposed to be, or something. But anyway, Baron Corbin won the match with the end of days. Then we go to Natalia versus Charlotte. This starts off in the 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock hour, and it's kind of a slow start. And I think Charlotte versus Natalia is really starting to become the John Cena and Randy Orton type of match, type of go-to match that you just go to when you don't know what to do. Oh, I need a good women's match. Let's throw Charlotte and fucking Natalia together. They had a great match in NXT, and it will live in infamy as one of the greatest women's matches of all time. This match tonight was right up there with it now. Don't get me wrong. And the thing is, I'm not saying these matches are bad, but it's just after a while, it's like, okay, there's only so much you can do. And that being said, this was a good match. And I will put this up there with their NXT match that they had years ago. It was that good. This crossed into the 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock hour. This is where I talked about the picture-in-picture bullshit. Natalia busted out a spiral bomb, which if you don't know what that is, that's DDP's old move, where it's a power bomb, but he spins around and then drops you. Natalia busted that out. Natalia had a superplex on Charlotte. After the superplex spot, Carmella comes in and cashes her she teases the cash in. She attempts to cash it in. And then she gets kicked in the face by Charlotte. And then Natty rolls her up and pins her 1, 2, 3. Given the fact that Charlotte was distracted by the whole Money in the Bank cash-in bullshit, I will give this match a pass. Other than that, I don't think it's a good idea to have your champion eat pinfalls like that. Especially when she's going up against Asuka, who's undefeated. I don't think that was a good look for Charlotte. Even though her out is that she was distracted by Carmella. Fair enough. I don't like having the champions lose like that. Same thing with The Miz over on Raw. Minus the Carmella bullshit, the match was great. Then we go to Jimmy Uso versus Luke Harper. This match was just there. It was a needed match. The match needed to happen. Jimmy got a super kick, and that was like his only hope spot that he got. And then Harper won with his discus clothesline. And I don't remember what show it was. I think it was either Raw or SmackDown last week, where you had two of the same moves in two segments. And in this case, it was two matches. Now, Natalya hit a discus clothesline, and Charlotte kicked out. Now, you can argue that, okay, well, Luke Harper's a man, but it's still the move itself. I mean, that's really the only argument you can have. Natalya hit a discus clothesline, then Luke Harper hit a discus clothesline. Other than the fact that Luke Harper is a man, why is Luke Harper's clothesline more dangerous than Natalya's? Because it wasn't like Natalya giving the discus clothesline to Jimmy Uso and Luke Harper giving the discus clothesline to Charlotte. Natalya hit the clothesline on a woman. Luke Harper hit the clothesline on a man. So there's no... You could say, well, Luke Harper's a man, so that's why. But he hit it on another man. And that man stayed down. And then Natalya hit the clothesline on a woman, and the woman kicked out. Now, you can argue that was not Natalya's finish. But it is your signature on WWE 2K18. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. Anyway, same move and the same... And it's not even that it's the same match. It's the same consecutive match. The following match, it was the same move. You know, it's bothersome either way. If a motherfucker hits a super kick in the main event or in the start of the match and he kicks out of it, and then the motherfucker hits a super kick in the main event and he stays down, or vice versa. I don't like it. Alright, Jinder promo. Jinder gets, he cuts his promo on the Modern Day Maharaja. It's announced apparently on WWE.com that he was added to the U.S. title match. And now it's going to be Bobby Roode Randy Orton defending the U.S. title against Bobby Roode and Jinder Mahal. And I fucking told you that SmackDown was going to mirror Raw with their triple threat match for their mid-card title. I told you they were going to do it, and they fucking did it. And they didn't even have the decency to announce it on television. They announced it on WWE.com. They announced it in passing as Jinder was making his entrance down the hallway before commercial break that he had been added to the triple threat match, or had been added to the U.S. title match, thus making it a triple threat match. So Jinder comes out and cuts his same bullshit. Maharaja this, Maharaja that. The 1 billion people in India, Maharaja this. Bobby Roode comes out and says, well, I'm going to get my title back at WrestleMania. When I do, it's going to be glorious. Then Randy Orton comes out, and Jinder starts kissing Randy Orton's ass about him being a Grand Slam champion, trying to play up that whole thing again. And Orton says, man, shut up. Man, you suck. And the reason why, and this is the key part of this promo, because Randy Orton basically, Jinder Mahal starts talking about how, I brought prestige back to the WWE Championship. I was a great WWE champion. Randy Orton says, you want to know why you're not mentioned as one of the great WWE champions? It's because you use your bodyguard, or not bodyguard, but minion, whatever you want to call him, Sunil, to help you win your matches. And what Randy Orton said he said what every WWE fan has wanted to say to Jinder Mahal for months now. The only reason why you were successful is because you had your minions do your dirty work for you. Without him, you suck. Then they start brawling. Mahal pushes Sunil into harm's way. Orton hits the DDT. Orton tries to RKO Sunil. Bobby Roode intercepts and hits the glorious DDT. He attempts the glorious DDT on Randy Orton. Orton gets out of it. Orton attempts to RKO. Bobby Roode gets out of it. They have a standoff. And Jinder Mahal's on the outside of the ring looking mad. And Jinder Mahal points to the sign and says, I'll see you at WrestleMania. And one thing I can say about this segment is that it was a perfect picture. You had Jinder Mahal pointing to the sign. You had Randy Orton and Roode face to face with the sign in the background. And Jinder Mahal pointing at the sign. That was perfect imagery. I will give them that. Other than that, I could have probably done without. Then it's announced that Jinder Mahal and Sunil are going to take on Bobby Roode and Randy Orton next week. Actually, that gets announced. They show that graphic when they come back from commercial break. And then this is the tag match I was telling you about that I could have done without. Like Naomi and Becky versus Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. Logan taps out to the disarmor. But again, if that match had not happened, I don't think it would have taken away from the show. And I said the same thing about the tag match that happened on Monday Night Raw with the Revival versus Titus Worldwide. So after the ladies tag match, we have the Daniel Bryan segment. He calls them out. He calls out Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn immediately starts to kiss Daniel Bryan's ass. We're so happy you can wrestle again. With Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Daniel Bryan on the same show, this is the dream show. Daniel Bryan cuts him off and says, look, that's not why I brought y'all out of here. What y'all did to Shane McMahon last week was horrendous. I'm paraphrasing. This is not exactly what he said. I'm just paraphrasing. What y'all did to Shane McMahon was absolutely horrendous. And now, see, I don't like the way Daniel Bryan worded this here. Because you could tell that Daniel Bryan was going to fire Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. But he worded it so, like he said, I was fired from this company before. Twice, actually. And then when he said that, it's like, oh. Like, you kind of killed your finish there, guy. So he said, I was fired from this company twice. And when I came back a better man. So then the next line obviously is, I'm sorry, but Kevin, Sami, you're fired. They shake hands. Kevin and Sami Zayn attack Daniel Bryan. And now the difference between this beatdown and Shane's beatdown, which I appreciate the fact that they did this. The difference is that Shane McMahon got no offense in. He just got his ass beat. Daniel Bryan got some offense in. He did all his signature shit. He did his drop kick in the corner, his yes kicks, and he didn't do a lot, but he did his signature shit, and he got his shit in. And then they cut him off and they beat him down. Sami Zayn hit the haluva kick. They did the powerbomb on the apron, and then that was the end of the show. Now, here's the thing. Am I happy that Daniel Bryan is wrestling again? Yes. Do I think they should have announced it on WWE.com? No. Now, if you want to get people to watch SmackDown, then yes, I understand why you would let that leak on WWE. Well, not leak, but I understand why you would put that out there to the masses that Daniel Bryan has been medically cleared. But imagine if that information had not been put online. Imagine if Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn jumped Daniel Bryan. The shock value is going to be like, oh shit, they're beating up a man who's not medically cleared to compete in the ring. So you're going to have more of a shock value. Then when Daniel Bryan starts doing his shit, his guest kicks and his drop kicks to the corner and all that, you're going to be more invested in it. And then next week, you can have the announcement and say, you know what? The doctors have cleared me to wrestle. And guess what? It's going to be Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon. Myself and Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Letting that information leak out online, I think, was a bad move. Because it took away from the moment of, first off, with the shock of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn attacking Daniel Bryan. And then the moment of, oh, shit, Daniel Bryan still got it when he fought back against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Okay. Then my second point about that Daniel Bryan situation is that I don't think that it's going to be a full-time thing. I don't know if it's going to be quite the Brock Lesnar schedule for Daniel Bryan, but me personally, I wouldn't want him to work house shows every day. I'd book him in a bunch of tag matches, and I would use him as an attraction. Because you could have your attraction for Raw, which is Brock Lesnar. You can have your attraction for SmackDown, which is Daniel Bryan. Just ease him back into that. So that way he doesn't get injured again. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, as far as E1 for the week, I'm going to end this video now because it's coming up on 50 minutes and it's going to be an hour here pretty soon. SmackDown, like I said, obviously won for the week. I knew that when the information was leaked out online that Daniel Bryan was going to be cleared to wrestle, and there was nothing that was going to beat that. The only takeaway I had from Monday Night Raw was that what I didn't like about Monday Night Raw was that opening segment with Roman Reigns. Final Deletion stood on its own, so I don't even really count that as part of Monday Night Raw. Um, Raw just had a lot of shit wrong with it. The opening segment, Miz getting pinned, um, the tag match that didn't really serve a purpose other than to announce the revival was going to be in the Battle Royal. Raw had a lot going against it, as opposed Ronda Rousey wasn't there. Apparently, Ronda Rousey showed up after the cameras went after the cameras went off, but that's neither here nor there. So Raw had all these problems with it. As with SmackDown, you had better matches. You had Rusev versus Shinsuke, which is up there with their pay-per-view classic. Probably watching it live would have been awesome because you didn't have the commercial break interrupted. You had that match. You had storyline progression with the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn shit. And then, of course, Daniel Bryan, just the announcement of him being able to wrestle again. Nothing was going to beat that. So SmackDown won for the week. My throat is dry as hell after talking for damn nearly an hour. I'm Warren Freeman. This has been episode 70. Preview for what's coming up on my channel. I'm still going to do the 5 greatest matches. Started from the year 2000 all the way up to 2017. That's going to be going on all year. I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to review some WrestleManias. WrestleMania 30 is definitely in the queue now. Just because, why not? Daniel Bryan's clear to wrestle. Why not cover the biggest WrestleMania or the biggest moment in Daniel Bryan's career? So I'm going to be reviewing some WrestleManias. I'm going to be doing some Royal Rumbles too. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to do the Royal Rumble that coincides with that WrestleMania that I'm going to review. So I've got all that coming up for you. Of course, WrestleMania is in like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks away. I'm going to have my WrestleMania predictions. Next week, I'm planning on going to at least one, either Raw or SmackDown or both. So I'll have those shows reviewed for you because I'll be off next Wednesday again. So when I get off work, I have a vacation day. So I'll review Raw and SmackDown. I think I'm going to stick with this format. Only because I'm actually going to the shows live, and I ain't going to want to do this shit when I get home. So, I will see you guys next week. I'll have some more WrestleMania, some more Royal Rumbles, and all that shit is coming at you. Warren's vlog is back and forth, baby! This has been episode 70. You guys be good. Good night.